I can't remember whether I read this email to you or not, but I'll read it again. Feeble is your bleeding, I don't know what that means, on the topic of the Pacific Highway, as it's a shame that you don't possess the gumption to give the topic the airplay you gave the carbon tax lie. The highway has been claiming lives for 20 plus years, and you are known as a motoring enthusiast. Let's see you make it a mainstream issue. No? Too tough? Too relevant? Oh well, back to the wild oats. Hang on, seems the cash for comment has dried up, just like the maturity of the Australian media as a whole. Signed, Bill. I believe we've got Bill on the line. Are you there, Bill?
Yep, Bill speaking.
Okay, Bill. Do you have to get up early in the morning to behave like a prig, or does it just come naturally?
Just rolls off the tongue.
You're a bloody nuisance, and what you talk is absolute rubbish.
What's infactual?
Oh, when you say back to the wild oats, what do you mean by that?
What's infactual about it?
Well, I'm asking you, what do you mean when you say back to the wild oats?
Back to the wild oats, the grog you forced down everyone's throat for 12 months or so. I thought you were going to have a mature conversation about the highway.
Well, I'll endeavour to do that, but I'm still reading what you had to say. I don't think I owe you anything. You say here, hang on, seems the cash for comment has dried up, just like maturity on the Australian media as a whole. What do you mean, cash for comment?
Well, prove me wrong. Talk about the highway and yeah, the wild oats and cash for comment. Talk about something that you're not paid to.
Well, hang on. You were the one who brought up wild oats and cash for comment. Tell me, what do you mean about the cash for comment?
Well, it's a secret. It's a secret that cash for comment, the phrase isn't... Look, you rang me today.
Yeah, I did. Because, well, and why wouldn't I ring you after you send an email to me that I think is scurrilous? What do you mean about the cash for comment has dried up? What do you mean by that?
Because you're not talking about the wild oats anymore, currently.
So, but what do you mean by cash for comment?
Paid topics of conversation. It's pretty obvious. They're plain English words. Do you have a dictionary in the office there?
Don't be cheeky.
Oh, you're being cheeky to me.
No, I'm not. I'm being factual. I'm asking
obviously
you. Okay. Well, let's just get this straightened up, and we'll talk about the highway, because I realise the highway is in very, very bad condition. But I don't like it when you make a comment like, "Has the cash for comment dried up?" There was never any cash for comment.
Okay then. Well, that's my mistake, and I will admit my wrongdoing like a man.
Good. Because there was never any cash for comment. The final outcome of the cash for comment inquiry was that the leading barrister in question said the problem was with John Laws, he was too loyal to the people around him.
Well, it's just a shame that, the sense of humour doesn't have a broad base. It was said to get your attention. Yeah, it obviously has.
Yes,
and there is a topic that surrounds.
Yes, it certainly has. When you talk about sense of humour maybe, but I'm not getting a lot of sense out of you. What do you want to say about the Pacific Highway?
Well, the email, which is a couple of weeks old now, that we are discussing, was sent on the day where the highway was a topic of conversation on your show.
Listen, hang on. The email I've got is dated 13th of the 12th, 12.
Yeah, I've got no idea how it's got that date on it today. It's a point of irrelevance. Are we ready to talk about highway?
No, hang on. It's not a point of irrelevance. You said that you sent it weeks ago. The date I've got on it is 13/12/12.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to clear that up if you want to pass me back to one of the handmaidens. But I'm telling you, my email account will show that it was sent last week, if not the week before.
Okay. Well, I certainly didn't get it, so it's been out there in the ether for a couple of weeks, apparently.
Well,
what do you want?
We may get to the highway topic in a minute.
Yeah, well, we can make it to the highway topic now. I'm aware that the Pacific Highway is in a dreadful condition, and I'm aware that lives are being lost, but you say that we should make it a mainstream conversation. Well, I'd like to do that, except it is not relevant to all the people who listen to the program. I'm very happy to talk about it, to mention it every now and again. So let's mention it now. What do you want to say about the Pacific Highway?
Well, I sent the email in regards to comments on the day that the comments said that after 20 years, why can't they get it right? There seems to be a new excuse of funding or whatever.
That's right.
Now, 20-something years is not good enough. When when I referred to the carbon tax lie, we whipped the people into hysteria about that, and rightfully so by some people's judgment. But why can't we whip the people into hysteria and get on the backs of every politician to actually make the highway happen?
Yeah, well, the highway will never happen so long as the federal government and the state government are at loggerheads about whose responsibility it might be. If only they could get together and say, well, let's get it done and we'll split the cost.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the media chose a constructive topic to put pressure on them, then it would be what the 1 minute audio grabs would be played. We could throw microphones in the faces of politicians and say, why can't you sort it out? We're paying you all good money to represent the people. State, federal, and people have had enough of excuses. They want the highway done. The benefits will be that it saves lives, but it will also bring money to small towns as it's getting built, and then once it's finished. And it just doesn't seem to be something that the media want to run with when it's a road of national significance.
Yes, it is.
And it's an international embarrassment. You've got B-doubles hurtling towards passenger cars. Of a night time, they choose their own speed limit. Families are being destroyed, and yet it seems to just be a topic that comes up when there's votes to be grabbed. Why can't we get on their backs and until it's done? Why should it be put into the too hard basket?
Well, I'm certainly not putting it in any basket. I mean, we're talking about it now. I talk about what the people who listen to the program want to talk about. You want to talk about the Pacific Highway. I'm talking about the Pacific Highway. And I agree with you. It's been a mess for a very, very long time. And incidentally, you said that you sent the email weeks ago or something. I've got the original email here from Billy Jim. Is that what you call yourself?
That's my first and middle name, yes. Okay,
so I've got this email from Billy Jim, and it says, sent Thursday the 13th of the 12th, 2012 at 9:57 a.m. And that date can't be changed.
Okay, well, yeah.
So you told a fib.
I don't know what's going on with the email date. I'm assuring you it was not sent today.
Okay, all right. Well, it doesn't really matter much, except it indicates except it indicates to me that you mightn't be as honest as you would like me to believe.
Well, time to hang up on me then, I guess.
No, I'm not going to hang up on you.
Well, you usually do when you're boxed into a corner.
No, I don't, and I'm not boxed into a corner.
I'm telling you it wasn't sent today, so look...
Okay, well, I can't change it, and it was handed to me by one of the handmaidens, and she doesn't go around changing the date on emails. They made a point of mentioning the date because of what you said.
I'll forward the original then.
No, look, don't worry. It's not that big an issue. I don't care.
The highway's a mature issue to talk about. Dates of emails isn't.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So why did you tell a fib about the email? Anyway, let's get on with it. What do you want to say about the Pacific Highway, apart from the fact that it's in a mess? I've already...
The politics and the media coverage of the politics surrounding it is in equally a bigger mess.
Well, I've got to say that we've often talked about the state of the highway because we have a lot of listeners in that area who travel the road, and we've often spoken about it. But I mean, I can't do anything about it. We've also talked to politicians about it, but they're having a fight as to whose responsibility it might be. The federal government says it's the state's responsibility. The state government says it's the federal government's responsibility. There's not a lot I can do to change that. I wish I could.
What would be good is if the media, despite their arguing on who's responsible, could put the costs out there of what it would cost to finish it, and put those costs up against other things that are being spent.
Like asylum seekers,
or the broadband.
Yeah,
for a fraction of the cost of the broadband.
Yep.
Yet letting people watch YouTube in the middle of the outback, we could save lives.
Yeah, it's not an unreasonable point.
They're valid points, mature points.
Well, that's what I said. It's not an unreasonable point.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like to see questions like that put to the politicians. State the comparison of costs of what it would do and that the benefits that it would bring are endless, yet they're hung up on bickering about whose bat and ball it is. And it's just ridiculous. The media are the outlet of pressure. The people can only do so much, gaining power through social media, But it's time that the mainstream media forgot about the 1 minute audio grabs that are politically driven and produce nothing, produce no results for the people or the well-being of the country, and actually start talking about issues that are going to make a difference and move us all forward.
Listen, Bill. All of that's right. I don't use 1 minute media grabs. I talk to the politicians directly. I'm not interested in getting a media grab that they've done at some doorstop. So you've been listening to the wrong radio station.
Well, all I'd like to say on that is that I'd like $1 for every time you played the "there will be no carbon tax under the government I lead." I mean, if you've heard it once, you've heard it 100 times.
Yeah, and so we should, because it was an out-and-out lie.
Yeah, well, it didn't. It proves that it needed to. It doesn't prove that it needed to be repeated numerous times. It was, and the fact
come on. It wasn't repeated that many times. It was certainly repeated. I played it to her.
Yeah,
and I gave her the benefit of the doubt when she said that circumstances change, and they do change, and I accept that.
Yeah, well, they did, and I just think that we've got a lot of growing up to do on what we're actually fighting for.
Okay, so long as you include yourself in that, huh?